Well, I'm really pleased to confirm that the government is on track to deliver its manifesto commitment of 1 million new homes over this Parliament. That's great news, but we're not going to stop there because we want to make sure everyone who wants to own their own home can do so. But it's important that we do that in the right way, and that means building houses in the right places with the support of local communities, not concreting over the countryside. So we're making it easier for people to expand homes upwards and outwards. We're making it easier to build on brownfield sites with more investment, and we're investing in the planning system. So taken together, that's a practical approach that will mean more people can own their own home, but we're doing that in the right way.
The other manifesto pledge was 300,000 new homes a year. Does that still stand?
Well, we are making good progress towards that. And actually, if you look at what's happened over the last few years, we've seen some of the biggest years for new housing supply that we've seen in decades. And actually, in the last year that we have figures for, the highest number of first-time buyers in over 20 years. So we are making progress. I'm proud of that progress, and we're not stopping there. But we've got to do that in the right way. I don't want to concrete over the countryside. That's something that's very special about Britain. I also don't want to ride roughshod over the views of local communities and their locally elected representatives. That wouldn't be right either. That's what the Labour Party wants to do. I don't think that's the right thing to do. We want to build in the right places. So that's more brownfield, expanding upwards and outwards, densifying our inner cities. Those are all practical, sensible ways to continue delivering homes. Our record on this is absolutely fantastic. As I said, 2.2 million homes since 2010, 1 million over this Parliament delivered, but we're not stopping there.
Well, speaking of locally elected representatives, one of your Conservative colleagues, Anthony Brown, says he'll do everything he can to stop what he calls the nonsense plans to impose mass house building in Cambridge. Are you going to face down those in your party who oppose your plans?
Well, no one is doing mass house building in Cambridge. This is about adding a new urban quarter to Cambridge, which is something that local communities have spoken about. And of course, that will be done in dialogue with local communities. We want to support Cambridge because it's a fantastic place to live and work, a global hub for life sciences, for example. But I think it is really important to bring local communities along with you. We have housing targets. They're set by local communities and their locally elected representatives. That's the right thing. What central government sitting in Whitehall and Westminster shouldn't do is ride roughshod over those views, impose top-down targets, carpet over the countryside. I don't want to see that. We are building lots of homes. 1 million will be delivered over this Parliament. That is a big deal. We're delivering on that commitment, but we're building them in the right places, and that's important.
That seems a bit of an incongruous subject, given the kind of damp scene that we're in here in Birmingham. But how concerned are you about what's happening on some of the Greek islands at the moment, the likes of roads, and what it tells us about the seriousness of climate change?
Well, my paramount priority is the safety of British nationals, and that's why the Deputy Prime Minister chaired a COBRA meeting yesterday. He's been monitoring the situation closely. We've been in touch with local authorities on the ground there, and the Foreign Office have sent a rapid deployment team on the ground to assist people. I think the most important thing is people remain in touch with their tour operators. There are lots of flights going back and forth to be able to bring people home, and if people are in touch with their tour operators, they'll get the information that they need.
Is your government still fully committed to ending the sale of petrol and diesel cars by 2030 and that net zero pledge, that central pledge of reaching that by 2050?
Yeah, of course net zero is important to me, and that's why after I became Prime Minister earlier this year I set up a brand new government department for energy security and net zero. So yes, we're going to keep making progress towards our net zero ambitions, and we're also going to strengthen our energy security. I think the events of the last year or two have demonstrated the importance of investing more in homegrown energy, whether that's more nuclear or offshore wind. I think that's what people want to see, and that's what I'm going to deliver.
I mean, there are some within your party who say things like, bringing in, new boiler schemes, that kind of thing should go. Again, are you prepared to stand up to those in your party who feel that actually the net zero agenda has gone too far?
Well, actually, I'm standing up for the British people because I'm also cognizant that we're living through a time at the moment where inflation is high. That's having an impact on household and families' bills. And I don't want to do anything to add to that. I want to make it easier. So yes, we're going to make progress towards net zero, but we're going to do that in a proportionate and pragmatic way that doesn't unnecessarily give people more hassle and more cost in their life. That's what I'm not interested and prepared to do. But we are making progress towards net zero. And our track record on this is better than the vast majority of other countries that we're compared to. So people should be proud of that, but also should be reassured that what I'm not going to do is unnecessarily add cost to their families' bills.